Hi everyone, welcome to another video of Ielts. Today we are going to talk about the speaking module. And I would like to tell you, first of all, let me just give you an introduction to what is speaking. Speaking module is divided into three parts. That is part one, introduction question, part two, cue card questions, and part three, follow-up questions. These are the main three parts of your speaking module. Speaking module takes about 15 minutes in an IELTS test. So basically it's an interview where, on the other side of the table, a person is sitting and asking you questions and you are answering on the other side of the table. So it is kind of an experience that is a one-to-one experience, and it takes about 15 minutes for your IELTS in your IELTS exam for speaking. The way we are going to understand and prepare for speaking is by section, that is part by part. And today specifically we are going to concentrate on part one, that is your introduction questions. Okay, so let's just get started. So first of all, what is part one? So the part one questions include general questions, general familiar topics like what your accommodation is, what kind of house do you live in, what kind of school did you go in your childhood. These are some topics that we are already familiar with. Okay, so they are not going to ask you anything that is out of the blue, right? They are only going to ask you things that you are well aware of, you have been through such things, and something that is surrounded to you. Okay, and you are also not expected to answer anything different. You have to answer what you have experienced. And just in case you do not have an experience of such a question, for example, they say what kind of locality you have, and you basically have a look don't have a very kind of locality that you cannot talk about. It's okay to include any lie in it, because it's not a truth test. It's not a general knowledge test, it is just a communication test. So it is important that whatever you speak should be communicated properly in English. So even if you are making an imaginary scenario, as far as you speak in proper English, proper communication, it is fine. So even if they have asked that what kind of house you live in, you live in a flat, but you choose to answer I live in a bungalow, that also is fine. They are not going to come and check if you are living in a flat or if you're living in a bungalow. You just have to answer the question correctly in terms of English communication, not in terms of what the reality is and what the general knowledge is. Okay, so the questions will always be on something that you can answer about. Okay, it will also have your examiner checking if your identity is truthful according to your passport, right? So they will have a look on your passport, and they will see your birth date, and they will see where you live. So they will also include questions like what is your birth date. So you're going to answer what your birth date is. This is just to confirm the identity of the candidate. So this is also what they will include in part one. They can include questions like what is your birth date, or what area you live in, what is the pin code of your city, of your area, right? Such questions which only you know to answer. So that kind of confirms your identity in accordance to your passport. Okay, they can also ask you where were you born, kind of questions. Okay, then the other thing is that section 1 questions last for about 4 to 5 minutes. In the total of 15 minutes, about 12 to 15 minutes of your IELTS speaking test, section 1 generally lasts to 4 to 5 minutes only, because it has questions about 7 to 12 questions, and you are not expected to answer a very lengthy answer in this. That is not there. You have to answer in about 2 to 3 sentences, and it is not going to be a very long answer. And how to answer part 1 questions I'm going to explain further, but these are some main things what part 1 is all about, that it is general topic, and the examiner would also confirm your identity in some of the questions through this. And it is just 4 to 5 minutes. It's not a big deal. You just have to take care that you don't go nervous. And it has a range of 7 to 12 questions. Okay, So this is part one. This is what part one is about. And these are some questions, general topics that part one can include. For example, they will ask you about you. So it can be your height, what kind of things do you like, how many friends do you have, how many family members you live with, what kind of school did you go in your childhood, something that is about you. And if they will start with one topic, they will go throughout all the 7 to 8 questions or 10 questions, whatever they ask you in introduction, with the same topic. For example, they ask you anything from study or work, right? So all the 7 to 10 questions will be concentrated something related to study or work. For example, they asked you, uh, are you a student or do you work? So you say you're a student, so they will continue all the questions related to study. Or if you say you work currently somewhere, then all the questions will be related to work. If they have asked you anything regarding music, so all the questions will be related to music. So that is how it is, the topic. They select the topic, and they drag the topic in all the questions, but I'm only talking about introduction. Maybe in the part 2 they choose to change the topic. It is possible. But if in the section 1 they have chosen weather as your topic, then all the questions, 7 to 12, whatever questions they are going to ask, they all will be concentrated on weather only, right? So these are some common topics that we have seen in section 1. They ask, it is about you, your town, or accommodation. Accommodation means housing. Study, work, free time. Free time is leisure time, what you do in your free time and activities related to it, and how you will answer. Next question will be related to that only. So these are some topics, general topics that come in your part 1. Moving forward, oh sorry, yes. So how to answer part 1? We know now that what are general topics, and by looking at the topics, you know that there was not such a big topic that you could not answer, right? So how to answer part 1? Part 1, first of all, you concentrate on exactly what question has been asked to you, right? So for example, they were asked, what kind of house do you live in? So you are now going to describe only the house. Don't go beyond the house, don't go out of the house. Okay, for example, what is nearby your house and stuff, and what the area and locality looks like. No, you don't have to. Just concentrate on your question and directly answer your question. Don't try and frame a background for your answer, because section 1, you are not expected to give a lengthy answer, you are expected to give a short answer. Okay, and giving a background will just stretch your answer. Don't do that. It's not required. They don't expect that from you. Okay, so first of all, just concentrate on your question. Second, give background. Don't give background to your answer. And try and give away only 3 ideas in your answer. 3 ideas. Why I'm saying ideas and not sentences, I will tell you further when we will discuss about what question is. And then, when a person is answering a section 1 answer, it is about 12 to 20 seconds. It's not beyond 20 seconds. So when you think of this, it's really easy. First of all, the topics are such that you can answer. Okay, simple, everything you know. And another great thing is that they don't expect you to answer it in length. So you are supposed to not really give too much effort in thinking what you are going to answer. This should be very instinctive. They asked, and on instinct you answer. It is like, on spot answer you have to create. You don't have to prepare for section 1. If section 1 answers are coming naturally, that would be the best. It should be instinctive, right? Natural answers, and try to relate it with your real life scenario as much as possible. Even if you are trying to say the truth, whatever they have asked, and you are saying the truth, that would be the best. Because when you are saying the truth or relating it to your real life scenario, you don't have to think much. Only if we lie, or only if we create an answer that is not our own, we have to think much. So be natural as much as possible in your part 1 answers, and answer instinctively. Don't think too much and try to stretch the answer. Make sure you have only like 3 ideas, not more than 3 ideas for your answer. And just be direct. Don't go for any backgrounds. Don't try to create a story. No, we don't need that. If you start doing that, then your bends may deduct. It can give the examiner impression that this person has just not prepared, but just gone through the internet answers and just have tried to incorporate that. Don't do that. It will make your answer look fake. Don't do that. That is not recommended at all, because it's an English language test. It should come out as if you are trying to communicate as normal and natural as possible. So this is how you have to answer your section 1. It is not a big deal if you don't make a big deal out of it. Just be natural and try and answer it as if you're having a conversation with someone rather than getting nervous. Okay, so we will go through and see that what are the kind of questions and how can, for samples, we will see the samples. For example, these type of questions are asked, then what kind of answer you can give. Okay, so these are some sample question. For example, the examiner have chosen to ask me about accommodation, right? So these are some 4 questions I have chosen that, for example, if they ask what, how can you answer? So first question is, tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in. Accommodation means house. So basically they are asking me what kind of house do I live in. So I can answer it as, I live in a duplex bungalow. It is 2-floored and has 3 bedrooms. Now see, first information, first idea was a duplex bungalow. Second was it has 2 floors. So I gave to the imagination that, first of all, you imagine a duplex bungalow, then you imagine a 2-floored duplex bungalow, and then I said that inside there are 3 bedrooms. So these are 3 ideas. So you don't go beyond 3 ideas. And this is it. This is it. This answer is it, and it is sufficient. Okay. It is not necessary that all the answers will be this short. They can be longer, but it is not on sentences and length. It is on ideas that you are giving away. Now this is 3 ideas. Even if it is like a small sentence only, but in that small sentence 3 ideas were given, and that is it. They don't expect you to give anything beyond this. If you start giving things beyond this, they will think that the person has just gone through all the topics from the internet and has pre-decided what I will answer for this question and what I will answer for that question, and that makes your preparation a little bit fake. It makes your answer a little bit fake, and it doesn't make it look that it came naturally, which is not a good sign. Because communication, when we communicate, and what they expect you to do is communicate, comes out naturally. You are not expected to go in and go abroad and pre-decide the answers that the other people is going to ask. No, you're not going to do that. You are naturally going to answer things when people will talk to you, and they also want to confirm that you can do that. So this is how you have to answer. So next question is, how long you live there? How long have you lived there? So how long have I lived there? So my answer, for example, is, well, it has been more than 5 years that I have lived in this house, but it still doesn't feel, it still feels that my parents and I just moved in yesterday. So first of all, I told them that how many years have I lived there? And then I also told them that I don't feel that, it has been 5 years. So this is like 2 ideas, kind of 2 ideas. So you're not just answering in one sentence that it's been 5 years that I have lived there. It should not be so flat. Answer should not be so flat, since you're making a conversation. So another thing that you added was that I don't feel that it's that old. I don't feel that I have been living so long there. It just feels that my parents and I just moved in yesterday. So another information that you gave is that your parents, you live with your parents. Even if it was not asked, you added that, but that is fine. Okay, so this is a sample answer, and you can answer anything different. My answer and your answer will differ, And that is completely fine, because I will answer from my scenario, you will answer from your scenario. But as far as you are not stretching it, as far as you are attending the question to what it is asked and not going out of the topic, it is fine. It is just fine. And the third question is, what do you like about living there? So you have to tell that the house that you have, what is the best part of it? So see, rather than saying the thing I like the most about my house, ya fir about the thing that I like the most about living there, rather than choosing to add the words from the question, paraphrase it. Don't use the words from the question, paraphrase them in different words. So my personal thing about the house. So I did not say living there. I said my personal thing about the house is the open space in front. As we don't live facing the street, it really cuts down the noise pollution and gives me a garden view. So for me, my garden view is the best part of the house. I like that about living there the most. So for you, it can be anything. And the other thing is that, you don't include anything that is from the question. So from the question, for example, the first question has accommodation word in it, right? Tell me the kind of accommodation you live in. My answer is this. But if your answer includes the word accommodation, replace the word accommodation. Replace it with a house. The kind of house that I live in, you can start that. Try and replace the words. If you are choosing to include the words from the question, try and use the synonyms of it. Why? Because lexical resource is a grading criteria in your speaking. And lexical resource means that how much vocabulary can you bring in your speaking. So this is, again, this I tell in my all the videos, whether it be writing or whether it be speaking, lexical resource is playing a vital role in it. So if your question says something and if you want to include something from your question, just replace it with your synonym. Don't use it as much as possible. If you have to use it, maybe use it, but try and replace it with your synonym. Okay. So for example, this was, what do you like about living there? And I said my personal thing about the house. And then I answered what I like about the house. Okay. What sort of accommodation would you most like to live in? So now this is about future. In future, what I would like to live in, what kind of house I would like to live in. So I will answer. For example, my answer goes like, I believe my family will expand in future. So I look up to a 4 bedroom with a personal garden and a garage and a garage type of a house. So with a garden and a garage type of a house. So this is what, this is the kind of accommodation I would like to live in my future. Now you can answer anything. Now here I included the reason. I thought that, in future my family would increase. So that is the reason I would like to live in a different house that I have in current. And how different it would be? First I said it had I live in the house which has 3 bedrooms. Now I would like to live in a house that has 4 bedrooms, and maybe I like a personal garden rather than having a view of a society's common garden. I'd like to have a personal garden and also a garage type of a house. Now I'm not saying, I'm not including locality. If you're including locality, you have to just see that you're not crossing more than 3 ideas. You can answer, this answer could have been completely different. For example, you could have answered that in future I would like to live in a house that is away from the city, in the suburb areas, where I and my family can relax and have a peaceful time. Simple, right? For me the answer is this. For you the answer can be different, but as far as you follow the criterias, you don't stretch it and don't go out of the task, it is just fine. So these were some samples. If they have started to talk about accommodation, all the questions will be on accommodations. These are only 4 questions, but in your section 1 IELTS exam speaking, it would be about 7 to 12 questions depending on how you are answering. If you're answering really well, sorry, if you're answering really well, then your answers maybe, then the number of questions can increase also. It is not there, but not more than 12 questions, because they only have a window of 4 to 5 minutes given to section 1. So they won't go beyond 12 questions. That is just not possible. So from 7 to 12, that's the range. So there will be like 7 questions at least, and not beyond 12 questions. So this is section 1, introduction question. Just I hope this was really helpful to you. In your comment section, you can also tell me what doubts you have, and also you can tell me if you want to get some other video done, for example for section 2. And specifically, if you have doubt in any topic, you can also tell me in the comment section below, and I will try to answer as much as possible your doubts and everything. You can also ask questions in the comment section where I can answer if possible, and just suggest if you want to see any other topic or topic related videos, right? Thank you so much, and we'll meet again.